awful what they did to that woman. It's fucking awful. She was amazing. Aaliyah was amazing.
Yeah, she really
If she
was.
had been alive now, there's a lot of people that wouldn't have jobs. Funny how that worked out for some people.
Aaliyah was more than just an R&B icon. She was a trendsetter, a rising actress, and a voice that defined a generation. Her career kept climbing, but then in 2001, everything changed. At just 22, Aaliyah passed away in a plane crash in the Bahamas. The world was shocked. But as time went on, fans started asking questions. Why was she even on that flight? Why were there so many strange decisions made that day? Beyond the crash, there were questions about her early career, her personal life, and the people around her. Her relationship with R. Kelly, who produced her first album when she was only a teenager, still raises red flags to this day. The marriage certificate that listed her age as 18 when she was only 15, that wasn't just a rumor, it was real. And it wasn't the only thing that got quietly brushed under the rug.
What's up? I'm Aaliyah, and if it's happening in entertainment, you can best believe it's happening on E!
Before the fame, before the music, Aaliyah was just a young girl with a dream. But the industry didn't see a child, they saw an opportunity. Her uncle Barry Hankerson was a major figure in the industry and also the founder of Blackground Records. Through him, Aaliyah was introduced to R. Kelly, who would become her mentor and producer. But the mentorship came with something else. She wasn't being presented as a 14-year-old girl. She was being styled and sold as a grown woman. That confusion between who she was and how she was portrayed became a pattern. The songs produced and written mostly by R. Kelly carried themes of romance and desire. That alone was controversial considering her age, but it became even more troubling as rumors started to spread about their relationship. By the time Aaliyah was 15, she and R. Kelly had entered into a secret and illegal marriage. It wasn't just speculation. There was a marriage certificate issued in Illinois that listed Aaliyah's age as 18. She was still a minor. And the age change wasn't a mistake. It was a deliberate lie backed by forged documents. The ceremony was rushed and done quietly. Some reports say R. Kelly believed Aaliyah might be pregnant and the marriage was a way to protect himself. No matter the reason, the fact remains a 27-year-old man married a 15-year-old girl in secret, and adults around them helped make it happen. When Aaliyah's family found out, they acted fast. The marriage ended in 1995, just months after it happened. Her parents pushed for legal action and the records were sealed. Aaliyah cut ties with R. Kelly completely after that, but the damage had already been done, and the people who let it happen faced no real consequences. There were also whispers of a non-disclosure agreement signed to prevent Aaliyah or her family from ever publicly discussing what happened.
You have to start asking yourself questions after being in this business for this long. If you're a halfway intelligent person, when do you start questioning how lucky some motherfuckers keep getting?
After the annulment, Aaliyah was asked about R. Kelly constantly. She either dodged the questions or gave short, controlled answers. "I'd rather not talk about that" was a line she used more than once, and that silence wasn't just personal, it was likely a part of her rebranding. Her image shifted after she left R. Kelly's circle. She teamed up with Timbaland and Missy Elliott for her second album, One in a Million, and her sound evolved. Her style too took on a sleeker, more futuristic tone, but behind the transformation, she still carried the weight of what happened. As Aaliyah tried to move forward, new relationships brought more tension and maybe betrayal. Behind the scenes, it was no secret that Jay-Z was drawn to Aaliyah. They were seen together at events and their chemistry didn't go unnoticed. According to multiple insiders, including Rockefeller affiliate Choke No Joke, Jay-Z had strong feelings for her and had been trying to build something with her, but while Jay was trying to make his move, Dame Dash came in and got closer. Dame Dash eventually became Aaliyah's boyfriend. He's been very vocal about how serious their relationship was, even stating that they had plans to get married. He said they were deeply in love and that she brought peace into his life. Dame described Aaliyah as the one, and even 2 decades later, he speaks of her with real emotion. But the overlap between Dame and Jay when it came to Aaliyah seems to have caused some quiet friction. Choke No Joke claimed Jay was heartbroken when Dame started dating her. While the fans didn't get to see much of it, there were signs of growing tension between the two men after that. Whether it was a love triangle or just a competitive power move, it left a crack in their friendship that only got worse over time. But after she was gone, the ones who said they loved her made some unthinkable choices. After Aaliyah's tragic death in 2001, the decisions made by the people around her became even more important, and some of them shocked those who were closest to her. In 2002, Jay-Z went on to collaborate with R. Kelly on the Best of Both Worlds album. The move confused and angered many people, but none more than Dame Dash. For Dame, the partnership wasn't just a bad business decision, it was personal. He had seen what Aaliyah went through. He knew the pain that came from her connection with R. Kelly. To see his own friend working with a man who had married her illegally as a teenager, it felt like betrayal. Dame later revealed that he didn't support the album at all. He said he distanced himself from the project and refused to promote it. He even said he gave his share of the projects from Best of Both Worlds to a women's advocacy group, showing how strongly he felt about it. This rift only added to the already strained relationship between him and Jay-Z. What made it worse was that this wasn't some stranger making the decision, it was the same person who once showed interest in Aaliyah, the same person who knew what she had been through. The fact that he could still work with Kelly afterward raised a lot of questions about loyalty, values, and how fame can override everything else. And then there's the flight, the one decision that changed everything.
Plane just after taking off for Florida in perfect weather suddenly plummeted to the ground. Investigators now saying one of the engines apparently failed. Along with 8 passengers, Aaliyah, a young Brooklyn native and a talented singer and actress.
On August 25, 2001, Aaliyah and her team boarded a small twin-Genesis Cessna 402B after wrapping up the video shoot for Rock the Boat in the Bahamas. What was supposed to be a routine flight back to the US turned out to be a fatal journey. But according to reports and people close to her, that jet wasn't even supposed to be the one she boarded. It's been said that Lenny Kravitz had arranged a private jet for Aaliyah, a much safer, larger plane that would have handled her crew and equipment with no issue. But that aircraft was taken by director Hype Williams, leaving Aaliyah and her team scrambling for an alternative. The backup aeroplane she ended up on was smaller, older, and already had red flags. It was overloaded by several hundred pounds and was carrying more passengers and equipment than it should have. To make things worse, the pilot, Luis Morales III, was not even licensed to fly that aircraft legally. He had falsified his credentials and had substances in his system at the time of the crash. There were also claims that Aaliyah didn't want to board the plane. Eyewitnesses said she argued about the flight and even went back to rest in a cab before being pressured to board. It's the kind of tragedy that didn't have to happen. Everything about the situation was rushed and poorly managed. From the weight of the equipment to the pilot's credentials, it was a list of red flags that were ignored. Aaliyah should have never been on that plane, but in the end, that one bad decision took her life.
They were having a hard time taking her solo. And then Aaliyah died. And then they brought Rich Harrison in, and your love got me thinking so crazy right now. She liked posing with him in pictures for Page 6. Aaliyah didn't.
This wasn't just a tragedy, it was a pattern. And Aaliyah may have just been the tip of the iceberg. The truth is, Aaliyah's story didn't happen in a vacuum. The music industry played a big part, not just in what happened to her, but in how long it was allowed to continue. Powerful men like R. Kelly weren't just enabled, they were protected. And while Aaliyah was the most famous example, she wasn't the only one. R. Kelly had a known pattern with underage girls even before Aaliyah. The people around him, managers, producers, and even label execs saw the signs. They knew, but instead of stopping him, they turned away. He made money, and as long as the business was profitable, the machine kept moving. Silence became the rule. One of the most complicated figures in all this was Barry Hankerson, Aaliyah's uncle and former manager. He was also R. Kelly's manager for years. That connection alone is hard to ignore. As both family and an executive, Barry had influence over Aaliyah's early career. He helped launch her first album, the same one produced entirely by R. Kelly. This dual role raised serious questions. Was he protecting Aaliyah or protecting the business? Some believe Barry pulled the plug on Aaliyah's relationship with R. Kelly once it got too public, but by then the damage had already been done. Instead of blowing the whistle, he helped arrange an agreement to make everything disappear. That silence helped preserve reputations, but it didn't protect Aaliyah. This kind of conflict of interest meant the lines were blurred, and while Barry eventually cut ties with R. Kelly, it didn't change the fact that Aaliyah was put in harm's way under his watch. The industry never apologized. Most people just moved on, acting like none of it happened. People now look back and ask, what if she had been protected? What if someone had stepped in sooner? What if the industry cared more about her safety than her sales? The answers don't change the past, but they push the conversation forward. Aaliyah's story reminds us that fame doesn't shield you from harm and that sometimes it makes you more vulnerable. A person commented saying, "She smiled for the cameras, but behind those shades was a young girl fighting battles no one saw." Another one added, "Aaliyah didn't just leave us music, she left us a warning." We can't talk about Aaliyah's legacy without talking about how she failed. She was talented, beautiful, and kind, but that didn't protect her from being used, silenced, and pushed into adult situations before she was ready. Her story shows how the industry will cover things up to protect its moneymakers. It shows how easy it is for powerful people to look the other way, and it shows how dangerous silence can be. What's your take on her journey? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.